What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, and today we're talking all about the Nike Pegasus 37 after 100 miles. Another video, another 100 mile update shoe review, and today is the turn of the Nike Pegasus 37. We've had an up and down ride with this thing, but today I'm delighted to be going through with you guys my thoughts after putting over 100 miles into this shoe. As always, we'll cover the wear and tear, then of course jump onto the overall performance of the shoe, and then finally we'll finish with if I'm going to be using it moving forward past 100 miles. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the wear and tear. So as per my opening statement with the Brooks Hyperion Tempo, you really do not want to be seeing any forms of wear and tear or nothing major at this stage in any type of shoe. And again, once again, pleased to report that the Nike Pegasus 37 is absolutely no different. In fact, the one thing that I can give massive credit to Nike for is the fact that they just produce shoes that are like tanks. They're just built really, really well. The build quality, in my opinion, on the shoes that I've tried, the Nike Zoom Fly 3, the Peg Turbo 2, the Miler, now the Peg 37, regardless of performance, the build quality on all of these shoes that I've tried has, to be honest with you, been second to none. I'm looking at this shoe now and I'll show you guys as always. There's just absolutely no snags, no changes in the upper whatsoever, no holes, no teared seams. The midsole's looking a little bit more creased than the Brooks Hyperion Tempo 2. But really, it's nothing to report home about. The outsole, as always, looking good. No forms of wear and tear there, and for me that just screams that it's a good quality build shoe. In terms of how it's fitting, has it changed over the 100 miles? No, in fact, if I'm honest with you, it's starting to fit better now. Like my foot has kind of bedded into this shoe. It was a little bit of a rocky start that I found with the Peg 37. I kind of questioned what Nike were doing with this shoe when there were so many other better options out there. But in terms of how it's progressed and my journey's progressed with this shoe, it has kind of eased gently into my rotation, and be honest with you, I haven't minded running in this shoe as much as I did in the beginning. But as for the wear and tear, we'll cover all that in a minute. As for the wear and tear, I've got to say it's all looking very good. Okay, so on to my overall thoughts, my overall impressions, and how has it been over the 100 miles. I'm going to try and be a bit more streamlined about this rather than waffle, so I'm going to attack it from the angle of telling you guys how I've used it, how I found it, and then something interesting that I saw the other day that kind of reaffirmed something in my head, that this shoe is meant for something a little bit more than running, so just bear with me on that one. But how have I been using the shoe since the original first impressions, speed test and long run test? Well, it's mainly been easy recovery and steady miles. I've taken this on no speed sessions, I've taken it on no long runs. In fact, actually that's a lie. I think I did take it on an extra long run on a day where I was just feeling like I wanted some extra cushioning, and actually, believe it or not, I reached for the Peg 37, which shows you that in my opinion this shoe has come a bit of a way forward in my rotation, because it has got better over time. It's by all no means perfect, it's far from it, but I've kind of warmed into the shoe and kind of accepted it for what it is and found a purpose for it in my rotation. As I said, that purpose has been the easy and steady miles. The other day I actually picked up the pace in this shoe, got down to the mid 6 minute mile pace, 6:20, 6:30s. just on a steady run where I wanted to move, let the body do what it wanted to do, and the peg responded really well. I'd say the one thing for me that has come to life as the mileage has progressed is the airbag. I've noticed the airbag more and more as I have run in it. I said in the beginning that this shoe wasn't very responsive, and for clarification, I know I've said it in previous videos, I'll keep repeating it just so that you guys are aware of my terminology of responsiveness, because I know there's lots of YouTubers that use the word responsiveness and we all have, I think, different meanings behind it. So for me, responsiveness is kind of when the shoe lands on the ground, how responsive is it then to kick up and push off? Like, do you get any feedback from the shoe, or do you have to do all the work? Is it a bit of a sloppy shoe, like I used to find the Turbo 2, or is it something with a little bit of pop that wants to make you move? And that's for me my terminology of responsiveness. And I have to say, I've found that the airbag has kind of come to life a little bit more, warmed into it. And I have found that this shoe has provided a little bit more pop. Nothing major, but I've found that it's not as sloppy as it was in the beginning, which is reassuring because I had such kind of a negative mindset going into this review in the beginning, just from the previous Nike shoes that we had reviewed anyway. So over time, I've just put the easy, steady runs in there, that long run. And yeah, I've got to be honest with you, I've been reaching it for it on those recovery days. I've been reaching it for it on those easy days, and I've been enjoying it immensely. So I'm really happy with how it's got to the point that it's got to. I have to say, it's by all no means perfect. I still, if there was a line of shoes to choose from a daily trainer, I would not choose this. I still pick like the Nova Blast, the 1080 in fact, over this shoe, the Prism that I'm currently testing. All those shoes, the Hyperion Tempo I'll probably pick over this thing. All those shoes that I'd probably still pick over this one, but it's certainly not as bad as I first thought. But if you guys remember, moving on to a last and interesting point, if you guys remember, back in my first impressions or speed test video, I can't remember, I joked about the lugs on the bottom, the outsole traction. I said all of this extra weight that's being added, I said, look at those lugs, they've got to be a couple of mil deep there, a couple more mil and they'll be like the Peg 36 Trail. You could use this for more than just running. And lo and behold, what popped up on my Facebook feed, but an advert for Pro Direct Soccer, Pro Direct Football for us in the UK, advertising the Peg 37 as your perfect training partner. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but that advert is doing the rounds now, and they're advertising this shoe not just for running but for football, and I totally get it. This shoe is so diverse, it could be used. If my old football manager rang me up and said, mate, come and play football again up at the AstroTurf, the synthetic pitch, I have no football boots, no football shoes, I pick these because of these lugs. I get a bit of traction because of these lugs, and there you go. I was like, that's exactly kind of reaffirming what I thought about this shoe, that it's a multi-talented shoe and a bit more of an all-round generic shoe, maybe a bit like what the Ultra Boost was marketed at a few years ago. They're trying to streamline the Ultra Boost back to running now, but I gather in years gone by, maybe the last couple of versions, it was a bit more of a lifestyle / running shoe. This for me is a bit of a jack of all trades sport type of shoe. It does well for running, but I can imagine it would do well for other sports as well. With that little extra thing out the way, I had to share that because I thought it was really, really interesting. But will I be using this shoe moving forwards? Will I take it past 100 miles? Well, as I alluded to in the Brooks Hyperion Tempo video, there are loads of shoes I want to take past 100 miles, but I seem to be testing more and more these days, and there's only a select few that get to go past 100 miles. I think what I'm going to do with this shoe is I'm not initially going to say yes. I'm like, there are other shoes that I'm enjoying that I would pick over this shoe, but I'm also not going to say no. For me, this is quite a good everyday casual shoe. I've kind of retired the Miler to be my casual shoe, but I'm actually wondering if this is going to be a better casual shoe than the Miler. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more poppy. I'm not going to say no, it is a comfortable shoe. I'm certainly going to keep it for those rainy days when maybe I just want a change. It is relatively soft now, it has softened up, it's quite a comfortable shoe, it's definitely a great recovery day shoe. So I'm going to keep it in the cupboard, but it's not going to be a shoe that I'm going to say to you guys, yep, this thing is going way up and above and beyond 100 miles, because I just don't have the passion for it. Overall though, I've been happy with the fact that we've got it to 100 miles. And it's improved along the way, but sadly it's just not cutting the mustard in terms of, with all the other daily shoes I have, they're just better than this thing. But that's it, that's my thoughts for the Nike Pegasus at 37. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. I know there were some mixed messages on the other videos. I'd love to hear if you guys have taken this shoe up and above and beyond 100 miles or whatever distance you've got it in. what your thoughts and feelings are. Do you like it? Is it your favourite shoe, or have you found that there are other shoes in your rotation that you prefer to use? So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, share it with your friends, do all that good stuff, and I will see you on the next one. Until then.